Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Sorry for the fake out. I thought I was going to miss the morning stream, but the appointment that I had this morning got done rather quickly, so was able to roughly make it to the normal time. So yeah, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be experimenting on, was it Saturday? On Saturday, I was discussing certain problems that still exist with the game, namely that it's not attractive enough to engage with alchemy, and the player is not being pushed into using alchemy enough. So I'm going to try to solve both of those problems with a little bit of an experiment. So basically what I'm going to be doing is adding a new currency type and also rewarding the player with more cards. So we're going to try to do both of those things today. I'm not going to make them super polished. Basically what we're going to do is just get those things kind of working, and then we'll see how it works. We'll see how it feels. But yeah, before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting on Steam. So if it looks interesting to you, check it out. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler. You could also support the game on Patreon. If you subscribe at this $15 a month tier here, you will get an Alchemortis Steam key sent to you at launch. So this is like a pre-purchase of the game. You won't need to buy the game on Steam. Again, if you subscribe to this tier for at least 1 month. And I'm also going to put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So everyone who subscribed to the sponsor tier will end up in the in-game Alchemortis credits. And what I'm going to do is I will order the credits by whoever ended up donating the most, essentially through Patreon. So I would very much appreciate it if you stay subscribed as a sponsor. But if you just want to subscribe for 1 month and cancel, that would also help me out quite a bit. And you can also check out my Udemy courses. These are a great way to support me as well. I'm doing all this full time. These are my primary income sources right now. So definitely check these out if you want to learn how to build complete games in the Godot engine. Those are all linked below, and you can also join the Discord. That's totally free. Liking the video, subscribing to the channel, that's also totally free, and would very much appreciate that as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Hello, RN Genesis, welcome back. Good to see you. Ninja Link, hello. Hello, good morning, Chris. Alex, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Jahar, welcome back. Good afternoon to you as well. Happy Monday. Yep, happy Monday indeed. Bubblegum Lord, hello. Good morning, good morning. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new branch here. for these things. So let's do this. We're going to start with the new currency. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? We'll just call this, I'm going to call it alchemy incentives. I don't know. We'll call it alchemy incentives. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to experiment with this new currency that I want to introduce called alchemical residue. So basically what I'm going to do with the alchemical residue is the alchemical residue will be, that will be the currency you get from completing alchemies. So when you do alchemy, it will just give you residue. And the alchemical residue, at least for now, is going to have a primary purpose of being able to unlock cells on the board. So instead of spending blood to unlock cells, you're going to need to do the alchemical residue. So you need to engage with the alchemy system to get those unlocks. Again, this is all experimentation, so we're going to see if that works. But there could be other uses for the alchemical residue as well. It's just, we got to figure that out first. Okay, so hello, cat. Hi. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do public int residue, private set, and we're gonna need to do all this same stuff here. Display blood, display blood, currency manager instance, add blood, take blood, has blood. Animate from position. So we'll just do public void add residue int amount. I probably just want to copy this here actually. Residue emit signal, we need a residue changed. Signal public delegate void residue changed event handler. Let's just move these down. Residue changed event handler. So we can emit that signal. Signal residue changed. Instance.residue. And then this, we will just get rid of this for now. Okay, and then we need to do take residue. So let's do this. Why am I doing... Okay, my keyboard is all not positioned correctly. Take residue. Int amount. mathf.max. Yeah, that's all right. We'll just get rid of this. Then we'll probably just copy this here as well. Try take... I can't type today. Oh my gosh. Try take residue. Has residue amount. Take residue amount. So I need that as well. Has residue. What? Yeah, has residue. Okay, we're good. We are good. All right, so the residue has been added to the currency manager. Obviously, we're going to need to hook that up to the UI and everything, but the logic is there. So what we're going to start with is we will give alchemical residue. So we go to the alchemy manager. We'll give alchemical residue equal to the outputs. So what we'll do here is in my alchemy manager, when I grab all the cards here, let's see, alchemize cards, config get outputs. Right, so in here, what I will do, non-reagent input cards.count. I wonder if I have a... I think I have a little bit of a memory leak here. Or maybe not. Transmuted cards. Okay, let me just make a note of that. I don't think I'm ever, so... I'm just gonna make a bug. I don't want to do this on this branch, but I think I have like some orphan nodes or some orphan resources being created there that aren't being cleaned up. That was just a random tangent that came in, but that's okay. Where is... So get outputs here. So in here what we'll do is we'll just do this. Currency manager dot add residue. Do I not have an add residue? I do. Oh, I forgot to make it static. There we go. Currency manager add residue. We are just going to do non-reagent input cards dot... No, actually, let's just do input cards dot length dot count. So we're adding the alchemical residue there. All right, so the main thing now is we want to change the board unlock system to use that. So board unlock component, I think, is what we're doing. Currency manager has residue. The unlock cost, we're going to knock this down a little bit. Not enough alchemical residue. Okay, try take residue. Okay, I think that's basically it. So aside from the alchemical residue being in the UI, I think the entire system has been switched over to use alchemical residue now. It's that simple, folks. It's that simple. So wait, so use the alchemy system to get alchemical residue and then spend that on board spaces? Yes. Says reside at the top. Oh, did it really do reside? Oh yeah, it's just the signal here. Let's change that. Thank you. Okay, I believe that's fixed now. Yep. I hate when my memory leaks, yeah. I can't remember when my memory last leaked. Do you have a daytime job as a software engineer? Impressive that you find time to ship games on the side and not get burnt out. I used to, but for the past year and several months, I've been doing this full time. So I had a full-time job as a software engineer. I lost that job because I was working for a startup, and the startup, as many startups do, ran out of money. And since it ran out of money, I lost my job, and rather than try to get a new job, I said, well, I might as well just take this opportunity to try game development, and that's where I'm at. So I've been doing that for a year and 4 months about. Yeah, it wasn't a startup, it was a spin down. Anyway. But this is the year that is going to be make or break. You know, Alchemortis is either going to give me the salary, the revenue that I need to pay my bills, or it's not, and I'll have to go back to full-time job. What was the startup? Well, initially the startup was, I don't know how much information I should share, but basically, initially the startup was a platform for people to sell courses, and then it morphed in several ways as it became clear that investors didn't want to invest in that version of the product anymore. We pivoted several times and tried to do like market fit for a ton of different industries. We rebuilt the app that we were building like 6 different times to go after like 6 different markets, and it just didn't work out. So, you know, that's the way it goes. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time there. I was one of 3 engineers, which was really good. Anyway, Could you feel the end before it did end? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was always kind of skeptical of whether the product would ever make the money that it needed to make. But it was a fun product to work on, and the CEO of the company was somebody that I really trusted, somebody who had a much better understanding of what investors were looking for than I did. So I had fun working on the project, and I trusted the CEO to basically just like do whatever we needed to do to secure investor money. Obviously, it didn't work out, but I didn't let my doubts about the product, affect my eagerness to work on it, if that makes sense. With the constant changing, yeah. Yeah, so my CEO was actually heavily involved in the investing world before he started a startup. So he knew, first of all, he had many connections to investors. And second of all, he knew exactly what investors wanted to hear. So we had that going for us. But at the end of the day, it's just, we weren't able to get the money. The classic strategy of investor appeasement jumping, yeah, for sure. But welcome back, Nick. Good to see you. The moment you hear a startup CEO talk about pivoting and spending all their time talking to investors, the company is cooked. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes. As long as you had fun and learned stuff from it. Yeah, absolutely. It was a really fun job. The work was really fun. And the CEO actually had us doing some like wild exploratory stuff, which was really fun as well. So it was basically like, yeah, it was just a fun time, honestly. It was it was one of the most fun jobs I've had for sure. I've worked with 10 plus startups exactly like that. None of them has success because they don't have a solid product already in place. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like par for the course, right? Like I think the majority, if not the overwhelming majority of paid software products just end up failing. It's because it's really, really hard to find like a market fit, and it's especially hard to find market fit when like things like open source are becoming more and more popular. Like the cost of software is just going into the ground, and so unless it's like a heavily bespoke piece of software that is like highly, specific to a certain client need or a certain like very niche industry segment, if you're trying to like make a product that has some sort of like broader appeal, it's number one, probably already been done before, and number two, it's really hard to actually capture that market. So I think it's just a bad time to be a startup, generally speaking. I just don't know. I don't know if there's that much more to accomplish in the startup world when it comes to software platforms. Yeah, exactly. Playable Workshop, dude, right? Yes, that is Playable Workshop. Nick runs Playable Workshop. All right, so we've got the alchemical residue. So yeah, I know there's some skepticism about using the residue to unlock the board cells, but again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it basically unavoidable for the player to have to engage with alchemy. So this may not be the solution to do that, but I'm not really going to get a feel for that until I actually prototype it. So we're going to prototype it, and if it doesn't work, we'll find a different way. It could be the case that, if I add more cards as rewards, like from the combat, for instance, then it may be the case that alone is going to make alchemy more appealing. But I guess what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a more hard incentive for the player to engage with alchemy. Because right now you can kind of get away with ignoring the alchemy a little bit, and maybe that's a problem with other systems of the game. Like maybe it's the difficulty isn't ramping up fast enough, or yeah, there's a lot of considerations to make. So we're going to treat this as a science experiment. We're going to do a bunch of prototyping. We're going to do a bunch of tweaking. We're going to try to narrow down exactly what it is that is causing the alchemy to not be a super attractive option. And hopefully through a bunch of iteration, we'll get that nailed down. Hello, cat. My cat had a vet appointment today, which he has to be sedated for with gabapentin, and so he's a little bit zonked right now. Hi, cat. Hi. Are you zonked? Are you zonked? Oops. All right. So here, this is a currency display. I wonder if I can just leverage this existing currency display here. And let's change this to currency label. Let's do an export variable. Private bool is residue display, I guess. Currency target group name. Okay, that's not great. Currency target. So I'm going to rename this to blood target group name. And this will be blood currency target. We're going to need to extend that later, but that's okay. Currency target location. This is the blood target. Oh, wait. We'll just do this. If not is residue display, we'll add that to that group. This does need to be, no, that's fine. Never mind. Currency manager. Okay. If is residue display, we're going to connect to on residue changed else. Okay. Oh, wait. I guess I don't, okay. This is fine. On display blood changed. Okay. Cool. Let's rename this to on display changed. That'll work. Cool. So we'll build this. I work for a startup, but the franchise hospitality space. But we're a team of 5 devs. Software supports the product, but isn't the product, which is good. Interesting. Yeah. Add child node. I like working for startups. Like, the thing about startups is that there's a good chance that you'll lose your job. But because they're small teams, it's a lot of fun. Like, there's obviously you work for a larger or mid to large size company. It's a little bit more stable. But I find that you have less agency in those kinds of organizations. Like, the work is a little bit slower. You need to get approval from several levels to do something. And, you know, not so much responsibility falls on you, which is nice in a way. But then, you know, working on a team of 3 people, it's basically like, we need this feature built and 2 other devs are busy with something else. So I got to just handle the full stack implementation of this. I got to change, do the database migrations, do the front end code, do the server side API code, deploy or set up whatever third party infrastructure thing we need. And that was a lot of fun. Being able to make my own judgment calls about those things was a lot of fun. Residue currency display. All right, so we've got that one. This is going to be is residue display there. Sense of camaraderie in smaller teams. Yeah, and actually, the one other engineer that I worked with, I've actually worked with at several jobs. Like, we enjoy working together so much that we've actually worked at several companies together. We just kind of do the thing where, you know, he moves to one company and then recommends me, and then I move there, or I move to a different company and recommend him and he moves there. It's like, it's kind of funny. I still talk to him regularly or semi-regularly as well. Definitely some camaraderie for sure. Okay, so we got the blood currency display, the residue currency display. Let me just see if this works. See if I did everything correctly. We'll need a different icon for that as well. I already got an error. Object reference not set to an instance of object. I gotta change this to currency label. Radical, dude. Yeah. Hello, Defected. Welcome. The other senior dev at my work is my best friend from secondary school, high school. Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's cool. It's fun. Alrighty. So we've got this other currency thing here. Why do these have negative alchemies? I guess I forgot to remove that. We just get bad word done and you break it, you fix it attitude. At Amex, you had to give like 48 hours notice to deploy even a simple change. Makes sense, of course, but super slow, frustrating. Yeah, I would not do well in like a larger engineering team where it takes like a week solid to make like a single change to an API and then it doesn't get deployed for 3 months and you're like, what was the point? I mean, that would be, not making any suggestions, but that would be an ideal situation to be like a game dev on the side. You just kind of like get your work done for the week and sit on your code for 3 days and work on your game. And then you say, here, I have that API change done. Anyway, that's not a recommendation, but could be a good idea. All right, I should probably give myself some more cards here. Kind of wondering if I should test this now or if I should just add the card rewards from combat as well. Because I don't think that's going to take very long either. I got to get to a booster here. Ooh. Okay. Contains poison and minion cards. I'm going to change the boosters as well. I think I'm going to make all of them free. But anyway, we've got the Alembic, we've got this, and we've got that. Cool. All right. So let's do some alchemy here. We'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll do that. Let's hit this. I've got 3 alchemical residue here. And these require, oh, that label is wrong, but that's okay. 6 damage, 4 damage, apply 3 bleed, put that there. I should be able to unlock at least one of these. Yeah. Okay. All right, I can see it working. I can see it working. Let me update the board unlock component here. Unlock label. I suppose if I'm going to be changing this cost, I should just make this unlock label text not hard-coded, but I'm not going to do that. Let's just do this for now. That's easier. All right, well, let's see what happens. Let's see. Yep. Could figure out some other uses for the alchemical residue as well. But we'll see. Okay, we'll commit this, publish branch. All right, let's do the combat configuration now. Good morning. What are my cats doing? Here. Anyway, good morning. Bought Gunforge last night. Not sure if you're still looking for feedback on that game, but I'm going to give it anyway. Sure, yeah. I mean, Gunforge development is basically over, but I can still learn from the feedback for sure. So the combat configuration, am I in the right spot? Currency, here we go. So I think what I need to do is let's do public RNG, random number generator, card reward RNG. Where am I actually instantiating this? Here we go, combat configuration. Okay, so we're passing in the RNG here. So we're gonna do card reward RNG is equal to new random number generator. And then we're gonna do seed is RNG rand I. That'll work. Are you generally against weird card shapes like a large 3x3 size L or a shape like this? No, I'm not against weird cards. The game is specifically designed to support weird card shapes. So yeah. In my short experience with it, I would say that I appreciate the polish put into it. Fun gameplay too. I feel like the tutorial didn't leave me with a great idea of how the game worked. Gonna play it more tomorrow. Yeah, I think tutorial, I'm gonna spend a lot of time on this game's tutorial and making sure that the player knows what's happening and just try to ease the player into it. Hello, Clickertail, welcome back. Good to see you. No need to apologize for being late. Always good to see you. So I'm going to put the random number generator card seed in there. We're going to do the same thing here. Okay. And then let's do public base card get reward cards. Okay. I guess we'll make it a list. It's fine. Pick modified cards. I think I need that. So we're gonna do return card loot table manager dot pick modified cards. New pick card args. Excluded tags. This should already be default correct. Allow duplicates. We will do true for duplicates. Count equals 3. What am I missing? Oh, this needs to be. This returns an array, so we'll do this. Actually, if it returns an array, change this back. Okay, RNG count, allow duplicates with tags, excluded tags, ability type filter, pick enemy cards only. Okay, I think that's all right. So we got the get reward cards here. So now when this combat is finished, what do we need to do? We could use that card overflow system that I already have to reward these cards. Okay, so where is that going to go? Run manager, no, maybe combat event. Do I not have an event state machine? Oh, I don't have a combat event state machine. State combat victory, here we go. Combat configuration. So what I'm gonna do here is I will do all the rewards up here. So currency manager, add blood. Card overflow manager dot add card to overflow. Let's just make a little helper method here. Public static void add cards to overflow. IEnumerable base card. I actually think that's fine. I was gonna originally, well, maybe I should do that. Okay. Add cards to overflow. Combat configuration.get reward cards. Maybe we'll need to figure out some way to indicate that, but I think that's basically it. So let's see what happens. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Jackie Daytona. Good to see you. Hello, Evan. Man, I did very little game dev and a lot of gaming in the last holidays. Yeah, me too. Me too. Can mix events with a state machine. Yeah, I mean, in my case, my state machine is a node. My state machines are nodes for my events. So the terminology is important. When I say event, what I mean is an in-game node on the map. So when you visit a combat or when you visit a booster, that's an event. That's what I'm calling an event. And each event type has a state machine that sort of drives its behavior. So the state machine will set up the UI for that event. It will handle the logic of like what happens when the player interacts with the event. And it will handle the cleanup of the event as well. And then those scripts extend node so that they can emit signals. So that's how it works. Hello, Willow Mist. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. Nicholas Dev, welcome back to you as well. Good to see you. All right, let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl. Who's good boy is here? Who's good boy? Zonked. Zonked cat. Are you a zonked cat? Okay. So let's see what happens here. Now this is going to throw the blood economy all off here, but that's all right. So I put these on the board. I do this. Let's see if I get my reward cards. Sweet. We've got a slime, got a viper, and a zombie, which I cannot fit on the board presently. Okay, and then I can go to my alchemy, and I've already got a bunch of cards to work with. So I could do maybe the viper and the skeleton. Alchemize those together. I get my alchemical reagents. I did not get poison out of that, which kind of sucks. But I'll take this guy out, put this guy here, do this one now. Why can I not get poison on the skeleton? But I got a viper that's pretty strong here. And I've got 4 alchemical reagents, so I can do this and put that here. And then do this and put that there. And now I've already got quite a nice build going. Oh my gosh. So this combat probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but let's see. Get some reagents here. I'm just messing around here. So there's this negative alchemy. I'm just going to throw that in with the honey there. And get the viper out with no negatives on it. And then I could use a 1x1 card. Although I can just unlock this. Throw the axe on here. But maybe I do the axe with the zombie and see what happens. There we go. So this is probably going to need a lot of rebalancing from the economy to the difficulty. Because now I'm just stomping things because I was able to alchemize a bunch of stuff. But that's what I want the player to do. So I am liking this. We'll take that. We'll take this. We'll take this. And the other thing that might need balancing too is that the booster nodes could be less common now. Could be less common and more powerful because combats are functionally boosters as well. Getting 3 cards after combat seems like a lot, or could you only choose 1? Yeah, I mean, everything's up in the air right now. So again, the problem that I'm trying to resolve is that alchemy was not attractive enough. And it was not attractive enough for a couple of reasons, some of which I've already fixed. One of the reasons that alchemy was not attractive enough is that it was too random, so that you would easily just like brick cards, or you would get outputs that were worthless compared to what you put in. So I've largely fixed that, I think. And then what else? The other problem that existed is that you could put in a card that you wanted to keep, and then it could not be present in the alchemy outputs. So now anytime you do alchemy, all of your outputs will be the inputs. So I'm always going to get a Corvid and a Funeral Pyre out of this if I do this. Now their abilities will be randomized, but I'm not losing the base card type. So that's another change that I made. One of the other reasons why alchemy was not super attractive is because of the card economy. The only real way to get cards was from the boosters. And so if you get only 3 cards from a booster, and then you do an alchemy operation with 3 cards, you can only choose 1 out. So you're basically converting 3 cards into 1. And then, so yeah, so those were the problems that I'm trying to fix. So the card economy, I think, was a problem. Like, players simply didn't have enough to work with to make alchemy an attractive option. And so now by giving the player more cards, I think that solves that problem. Now, whether 3 is the right number, that remains to be seen. And then, of course, now there's this alchemical residue, which you can only get through alchemy, and you can only increase your board size with alchemical residue. So I have this Corvid here. If I want to put the Corvid on the board, firstly, let's get rid of that negative. Get rid of that negative, and then we can slap the Corvid on the board here. Boom. So yeah, I think it's moving in the right direction. I probably just need to adjust some things, blood costs and whatnot. I did very little game dev and a lot of drawing and editing the past week. Very nice. Seems like you can get your inventory filled pretty quickly. Yeah, and I think that's okay. Did so much game dev over the holiday. Probably did more dev over the holidays than I did all year. Nice. Plan on deving some tonight, so we'll make some progress. I think presenting 3 and choosing 1 would be great. Boosters could be useful for finding specific cards. Maybe make the booster give all the cards of that type. Would make them a lot more useful. Yeah, what I was thinking about doing with the boosters is just make all of these free and just have them each offer different ability types and tag types. So these would all be free here. And then, you know, you could choose between preserve, damage, or heal. There's a lot of work to do here, but I think this is going to require some more experimentation. As far as being able to choose only 1 card, that would probably be more interesting. Wow, I was not expecting to see this change so quickly in the game. Yeah, the nice thing about this game is that a lot of the systems are relatively mature, so just like extending them with new content or slightly new behaviors is relatively easy, which is nice. This is looking really good. Are you doing your own artwork for this? I am, yes. All the art you see on screen is done. If it's not a shader effect, it's done by me by hand. Let me think about this. Game development is hard. Well, this is just experimentation, so... See, the problem now is that I'm just destroying things too easily after doing a few alchemies. Maybe choosing one card would be better. So instead of adding the whole code to only choose one card, let's try this for a second. Instead of rewarding 3 cards, I'll just reward 1 to simulate getting 1 card out of it. Obviously having a choice is going to be nicer, but that's going to require some additional work. That's one thing that I can't really easily support right now. The alchemy system is the only thing that supports it, because I need to do a bunch of visual effects on the cards to indicate that you can only choose 1, and so on and so forth. So we grab that, do combat. I have 10 blood already. So what I can do is I can take this guy and this guy, slap those together. This is perfect. Put that on there. Pixel art is pretty good. Thank you. Appreciate that. It will take roughly 12 months for such a project to reach high system maturity, i.e. finally designing the game. Well, I haven't been working on this game for 12 months. I've only been working on this game for 9 months or something. So we're not quite at a year yet. But I think, you know, if I knew what I was doing with respect to game design, probably would be quicker than that. But a lot of the dev time has been... A lot of the dev time has just been like reworking stuff and overhauling stuff. Oh, a skeleton warrior. Thank you. Sell. So I want to put more cards on the board, but I need alchemical residue to do so. I could get rid of the skeleton warrior. Let's try to do something with the corvid here. Corvid. Jellyfish. Maybe just corvid jellyfish. 6 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage. Deal 5 damage to self. I don't have any reagents either. Echo if the board contains multiple jellyfish cards. Critical chance reduced by 35%. We'll take this corvid, put this here. Unlock this cell, put the corvid here. Okay. Am I going to get wrecked by these field oh, no, I'm not. Oh, the skeleton warrior destroyed those guys. The skeleton warrior dealt 40 damage. Oh my goodness. It's because the field mice did a bunch of small damage to me and then I just wrecked them. Alright. Put that there. Is there... Okay. Asking for a friend, can you explain step by step how these boosters work for those of us who are unfamiliar? Booster like from a technical perspective or from a like how they work in game? Let's do a shop node here. Okay, that's a respectable shop node. Gameplay. So the way the boosters work is that they will offer, so they offer one card that has an ability of what it says. So it will say like offers a card of a, like with a paralysis ability or whatever. So you'll get a card that has a paralyze ability. It will also offer a card of a certain tag. So if I go here, so you could say it says contains heal, preserve, blind, minion, weapon, and ritual cards. So the boosters will contain all of those things, basically. And then you just select the booster that you want that contains what you're looking for. And the system will just choose cards randomly from the loot table with those parameters. It's really impressive because we don't see if you've worked on a paper prototype first. I did not do paper prototype, no. I don't know how you would paper prototype an auto battler. Hello, if you get any free minute, could you check your Udemy C# course, lesson 73? Left there a question. I frigged something up with the settings of art clipping with a mask. It looks weird for me. Yeah, I will see if I can take a look at that later today. Was there a render issue with the obelisk art? No shadow and then you moved closer and it popped in? Maybe. Can't figure out what I broke, so I just moved on with the next course lessons for now. Left the question. Okay. Wow, the pieces rearranging automatically when you hover over them is so cool. Yeah. That was definitely a necessary system because otherwise it was going to be very hard to like reorganize your inventory. And thankfully, knock on wood, that system has not been buggy at all yet. Forgot you added shadows while you were far away. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I don't have any healing cards, so I don't want to do that. Deal 9 damage, resets the cooldown of one random enemy card, apply 20% blind to self. If there's an adjacent alchemical card, gain 50% critical chance and 1.5x critical multiplier. Resets the cooldown of one enemy minion card. I don't have any alchemical cards. That's an alchemical card. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take this guy here. I don't have enough residue to do that last corner. So let's just go ahead and throw some things together and alchemize those so I can get some new residue. Paralyze adjacent cards for 4 turns and heal 4 per paralyzed card. Deal 6 damage. This one is just, oh, they're kind of equal actually. They are exactly equal. So I guess the question is, actually, I should probably take the alchemical tag because this will scale off of alchemical. So I'll grab that, unlock this, put this zombie there. Okay. Do I want anything from here? Well, I don't have enough money, so probably not. Sorry, shop. Upgrade card. Let's upgrade the zombie. Cool. So now we got to figure out how to get an alchemical card on the board to scale with this, which I can actually kind of cheat a little bit. I can grab a 1x1 reagent. Why did that drop 4 cards? I don't know. Anyway. Cool. Let's do these together. Oh, I got a marionette out of the gold again. Oh my gosh. Paralyze adjacent cards for 4 turns. That's actually kind of good. We'll take that. And now I have this. This counts as alchemical, even though it doesn't do anything. So now the zombie has a 55% crit chance and a 3.25x multiplier. So what I can do here... Yeah. Okay. So maybe rewarding 1 card is the move. Now the question is, do I want to give the player a choice of card, or do I want to just predetermine the card that the combat is going to reward and just add that to the combat tooltip so that players can pick and choose their combats? That is a good question. That is a really good question. Gosh, I'm so smart with my questions. What do you guys think? So for the cards that are rewarded after combat, do I want to give a choice of 1 of 3 cards, or just predetermine the card that is rewarded and then surface that in the tooltip on the map so that the player can choose ahead of time which combats they want to engage with? So imagine the tooltip here says rewards X card, right? You're so smart, yeah. I think choice is the way to go. I would give them a choice. Will feel better than going down a path and having to do combats that you already know won't be useful. Gambling is always more fun. 3 cards, choose 1. Okay. All right, that seems to be the consensus then. Shoot, that's going to be... You guys chose the most technically difficult path to go. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to use the card overflow system for that. Maybe highlight type of card and allow players to reroll. We always do. Gamble. Is it really a stream if we don't make dev a bit more difficult? Yeah, it's not. Okay, well, for prototyping purposes, I'll just leave it at rewarding 1 card because I'm going to need to think about... I need to create a whole new flow now because the overflow system, which is what the combats are currently using to deliver those cards to you, the overflow system is just like, here's all the cards that you earned, take them all, right? So if I had the spider egg artifact, it would also put the spiderling in this board. And so I would get my combat reward card, but I would also get my spiderling card. But if I have to change the combat to be a choice of 1 of 3, then it has to be actually a different flow because I'll first get a choice of 1 of 3 cards, and then the overflow system will kick in and say, here's the remaining cards that you are owed. So yeah, that's going to have to be the thing. I think I'm liking the direction that this is going. Having 1 card from the combat is definitely the way to go. I think getting 3 cards from each combat is a little bit too much, like somebody else said. I think what I want to do is maybe Well, I was thinking maybe reduce the prevalence of boosters, but maybe not. Boosters they're not rare, but you could definitely go long stretches without hitting a booster as well. Like if you look over here, if I were to choose this path, you know, that's many nodes before I can get to a booster, but I'm hitting a lot of combats along the way if I go that way, so that would help. The reagents are also a good source of cards, even though those cards are only used for alchemy, really. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. Now, as far as the blood, you know, maybe the blood, I might have to reduce blood gain a little bit or increase the prices. One fixed card with reroll mechanism sounds good as well. Then you can have a relic that increases drop rate of legendary and what have you. Yeah, or increases the chance of dropping a card that fits the strategy you're building on your board. Game flags use poison strat, you're more likely to get poison cards. That could work. Does tossing Death Lotus in there still give residue? It does, yeah. So if I do this, and I do this, that will give me 1 residue. Azir, what are you doing? What are you doing, bud? Zonked cat. Hello. Hi. Aw. Who's this sweet boy? Are you a sweet boy? You a sweet boy? Say hi to the stream. Say hi to the stream. Hi. Hi, buddy. He's a good boy. Oh. Let's see. Make the residue cost increase as you open more tiles. Yeah, that could work as well. I like the direction this is going. I just have to, I guess there's going to have to be a bunch of tweaking and stuff that goes into making everything feel really, like meaningful. Hi, cat. Yeah, good kitty. Thank you. Yeah, he's a good cat. Pretty kitty. He is very handsome. Everyone says you're handsome. Everyone says you're handsome. Okay, I think, I generally like the direction this is going. How are we feeling about the alchemical residue system now that we've seen it a little bit in action? I do like that, because there was a moment just then, like 5 minutes ago, where I wanted to open up a space on my board for the zombie, but I needed alchemical residue to do so. So I opened up the alchemy and I threw the mandrake in with, I think, what was it, gold or something? And I actually ended up getting a mandrake that's like really powerful. So now I kind of have this thing where I've kind of got it on the bench, and I could easily see myself opening up an opportunity for me to use this, because I've got 3 minion cards on the board right now. And this has the marionette ability, deal 6 damage, deal 3x damage if there's at least 3 allied minion cards on the board. It has 2 copies of that ability. So if I were to just engage in a little bit more alchemy, I would be able to open up some more slots on the board here and get that huge damage increase. And remember, this was something that I was not expecting to get. I was just doing alchemy to open up a board, but now I've got this very attractive card that I want to find a use for. So that's kind of like what I was going for with the alchemical residue system. Is like, yeah, I was kind of just doing a throwaway alchemy to generate the residue, but then the output that I got is something that I want to use, you know? I think it's a good solution. I think it looks fine. Is that the max size of the board now? No, this is not the max size of the board. There are still grow board events on the map. Let me see if there's one in, there's not one in range, but the grow board event is still on the map here. And that will increase your board size, but all it does is it adds more locked cells to the board. So what I did is, if you remember several months ago, the starting board size was 2x2, and you could only increase your board size by going to the grow board events. And that felt bad because you could be a victim of RNG and not have many opportunities to grow your board. So what I did is I increased the starting board size to 3x3, but locked all of the edges of the board. So you can incrementally increase the size of your board basically whenever you want. And that also gives you more time to find or stumble across these increased board sizes, which will add more rows to your board. However, if you tend not to find many board size increases, then what you'll have to do is you'll have to rely very heavily on alchemy and creating synergies to maximize the power of your board. So let's say that I am stuck with the 3x3 board all the way up through this second region here. I'm going to have to focus very hard on making sure that these are packing the most punch possible, which is good. Because then there will be runs where you hit a bunch of board size increases and you could just throw a bunch of cards on there. And there will be other runs where you're very constrained for space and you'll have to like squeeze out as much power from the cards as possible. Actually, that's an interesting idea. I'm not going to do this, but I just had an interesting idea of like just not increasing the board size at all. And this, it's a 4x4 board actually. This 4x4 board is all you get. And then you just need to like stuff as much into it as possible with the alchemy system. Something to think about. I haven't been here in a while. It's nice to see how much the game advanced. Hello, Das K. Welcome back, or the Das K, I should say. The grill board was also very strong without locks. Yes, it was. Maybe create abilities, artifacts that benefit from playing with a smaller board. Yeah, that could work too, for sure. So like I said, I like, it also allows you more freedom with the UI. Yeah. Well, that's a radical idea. What do you guys, I don't know if I want to do this, but what do you guys think about just removing the grill board altogether and like this 4x4 board is all you get? One reason I don't like that idea is because it is fun to get bigger boards and to be able to just throw more cards onto the board. But the reason I do like that idea is because it adds a constraint on the player, which should further incentivize alchemy. Because you're only going to get so much power out of a board using unalchemized cards if you fill this board entirely. And that's going to be a limiter. So in order to get the most out of the board, you'll have to, make good use of the space. Where I could see that being a problem is like with the large cards like the Skeleton Dragon, which is a 3x3. That's basically going to take up the majority of the board here, and then you only have like this bottom and right edge to fill. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see like if you just have a fixed board size, then you're working under a constraint that forces you to think more creatively and use more strategy. But I think we can accomplish the same thing if the grill board events are just not super common. So they're like nice to haves, but if you don't encounter them or you don't get a lot of them during a run, then it's still the same thing, right? You're still constrained by board space. I'd be game if it was a 5x5 board. I think if you keep the 4x4 board, then maybe have the option to rotate cards could be nice to have. Have you considered cards that once put onto the board can add certain spaces adjacent to the card? Could make some crazy looking shaped boards, make it more appealing. That is an interesting idea. I don't know, maybe you could make the event more rare. Die, grow board, die. What about guaranteed growth of the board, like every 2 bosses? That is an interesting idea as well. I do want to add like a mini boss event type to the game. And I could see the mini boss rewarding a board size increase instead of like traditional cards. Well, that is an interesting idea. Well, something to think about, I guess. Something to think about, I guess. It would be cool for bosses to increase board size, and you can better tailor difficulty of enemy boards to that. Yeah. I think that's good. Get rid of the board grow and free up space for something else on the map. Oh, decisions. Well, I don't need to decide on the grow board right now. I just think that's an interesting idea. Because, like, everything needs to serve incentivizing alchemy, I think is what the bottom line is. And if it's too easy to increase your power just by growing your board size and putting unalchemized cards in empty spaces, then that doesn't incentivize alchemy. If it's too hard to get cards, that disincentivizes alchemy because you don't want to spend your cards on alchemy. That way defeating bosses feels like a level up in both your power and the difficulty of the game. Yeah, I definitely see that argument, for sure. Which is exactly what I did on my runs, grow board and just win in numbers. Yeah, I mean, the locked cell approach was one of the ways that I tried to rein in the power of the grow board event. And I think that's largely successful. So grow boards aren't like a guaranteed power increase because you still need to spend the resources to actually unlock the cells. You could also give player choice. If he wants to play with the bigger board, to deny it and, let's say, get more resources or cards. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that for sure. But I will say, I do like rewarding a card, a choice of card after the combat. I like the way that the alchemical residue thing is shaping up. Because that definitely pushes people into alchemy, because that's the only way you can increase more board, or get your board space unlocked. And then as far as like growing the board, that can be a problem that can be resolved later. I think just the boss milestone is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to think about it. I'll have to mull that over. But I like the way that this is feeling. Let's, so now that I've kind of prototyped it a little bit, I think what I want to do now is just polish this up a little bit in terms of like getting all the scaling balanced again, because I think probably the blood economy is now a little bit messed up compared to what I had before. Or is it? Let me think. Yeah, because you won't be spending your blood on board size increases or board cell unlocks anymore. Can you have an event that you can convert blood to residue? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? You could do both. You once said that it would be cool to have player choice in the game. Maybe it could work as a specific character ability. Yeah, that's true. Scope creep. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm just going to commit this, though. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, what do I want to do? I kind of want to just... because I need to think about this stuff some more. I do need to balance out the blood costs and everything. But I kind of want to do some art for that alchemical residue as well. Might be a little bit early for that, but at the same time, it sounds fun and I want to do it. So I think what I'll do is I'll do like an alchemical residue icon for that alchemical residue. I'll have to think about doing an animation for when you earn it as well, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will work on some of that stuff. And yeah, so I'll be right back. Hello everybody, your favorite niche e-celeb is back. Alright, let's figure out where in the world this blood icon is. Searching by UID doesn't work in this file system. Alright. Okay, how am I supposed to find the blood then? I just need to know where this is at. Let's see. Icon. It's in the icon folder. Okay. Show in file system. Okay, so the blood here, let's just open this up in Sprite. So this is what? This is an 11 by 11 canvas. So we'll do the same thing. 11 by 11. We're going to do some alchemical residue here. I think we're already good here. Alchemical residue. All right, we'll see what we can do. Just try to make it like a pile of powder, kind of. This needs to fill the space a little bit better. Oh, that looks kind of good. Yeah, that's probably fine. Maybe make this side thicker. Nope. Honestly, this is probably good. And then this will be easier if I can see it on a black background. Fill that in. Okay. So now we got to try to make this look like a pile of something. Okay, and probably put some white bits in there. Okay, and then maybe I might want to add just some extra color into here. Maybe. I think that probably works. Yeah, I think that looks decent. Oh, I like that better. I like that better. Yep. So we'll put it on the black background again. Yeah, I think that looks dope. I think that looks good. Not so niche anymore. I think I would say I'm still pretty niche. Very World of Warcraft. Oh, this art here is World of Warcraft? Your ref image should be Blaze Powder from Minecraft. Hello, Arion. Welcome back. Reminds me of Meteorite Power from Gwent. Which did you learn first, pixel art or coding? Definitely coding first, yeah. I would not have considered, like, Gunforged was my first real attempt at, like, doing all the art for my games. And let me tell you what, that was not an easy road. And I still think the Gunforged art looks a little bit weird. And I think one of the reasons why the Gunforged art looks a little bit weird is you can actually tell that my skill improved during the making of that game. So I have like older sprites in the game that were done earlier in development, and then the newer sprites in the game that were done later in development. And there's a definite quality difference between them. I did go back and redo a bunch of the older sprites just to make it look more visually consistent, but yeah, I think Gunforged looks a little bit weird because it's not like perfect consistency because my skill was actually improving. So with Alchem Hortus, and it's been the same story for Alchem Hortus really, I've already redone a bunch of card art because I've developed the style a little bit more since when I started developing on it, but definitely want to aim for more consistency with Alchem Hortus. I want to make it look as consistent as possible. This is not in the right spot. I'll just call this residue, I guess. Residue.png. Do you think it's a requirement to be a good dev to know pixel art or 3D art? No, I don't think so. I think programming and art are basically completely different skill sets. Where they would overlap is like planning how to integrate the art into your engine in a way that makes it easy to animate the art or do certain visual effects with the art. But I would say there's basically no overlap between those skills. Big thing is that it can reduce your cost since you don't have to pay anyone. Yeah, I mean, there's the cost consideration, but also, yeah, there's a lot of freedom in just being able to create my own asset on my timeline and in the style that I want. Like, there's a certain sense in which that's easier than trying to coordinate with an artist and try to communicate like what you want and having to go back and forth on revisions and stuff. Just being able to open it up in an Sprite document and draw this icon here on my own terms with my own style and then get it into the game in, what is it, like 5 or 10 minutes? Like, that is so much more efficient and productive than having to coordinate with an artist on that. And it's more fun too. Like, I just think the more of my game that I can build myself, the more fun it is. With some exceptions like sound design. I don't think I would have fun with sound design. Anyway, so we've got that in there. Currency display, we're gonna need to change this texture rect. So I'll go ahead and add another export here. Private texture 2D, residue icon, texture, I suppose. I might as well set this up as well. Residue target group name. On ready, we're going to need to take that icon, that texture rect there. Texture rect dot texture is equal to is residue display. On display change. Okay, I think we're good there. So let's build this. Sound design is hard, some for making music. Same for making music when you aren't a musician. Yes, absolutely. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to put this residue icon in here. Let's just see how that looks in game. I think that icon turned out pretty good, actually. Oh, yeah. So obviously I'm going to need to make a new UI slot for the residue there. So I'll probably just shift this one up and move the residue underneath it. But I think that looks great. I have no complaints about that. No complaints about that at all. Cool. All right, so residue icon is in place. Yeah, looks good. Looks really cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think it turned out great. I wonder if I should just do this UI thing right now. Might as well just clean that all up while I'm at it. Now I have to figure out where the heck that is. I think my art assets are a little bit disorganized, but not disorganized enough to justify the time requirement to reorganize it. So we're stuck. This is the inventory. So UI inventory. Let's go ahead and open that. File open, assets, UI. Where is I in the alphabet? Here we go. Finalized. I did not make this easy for myself, did I? So these are the spiral columns that I was originally going to do, but I don't need those anymore. So I think that's just adding some confusion here. So these are going to get yeeted. Goodbye. They have been yeeted. All right, so then this middle part here, this is where I need to change. What I should do really is I should probably split this off into its own little thing. Call this middle shadows, I guess. We'll do another layer. Middle labels, I guess. Put this here. Now the one thing is I may want to increase the stash size. But I suppose that doesn't need to happen just yet. Okay, and I'm gonna do a little trick here, I think. Grab this. Shift that horizontally. Well, whatever. I can redo this at some point, but how many pixels is this? 6. 6. Okay, I got the spacing correct. Yeah, probably should make these details a little bit different. Man. I guess I'll just do that now. I'll do that now before I forget to do it. Okay. Okay, now they're different enough where it doesn't look like a copy paste exactly. Okay, cool. So now I have to figure out how to re-export all this. I guess what I do is I just grab this. Like so. Export as inventory. And we've got the new art in place now. And then I just need to realign this stuff here. So this currency margin container, theme overrides margin top. Is this just a guess and check operation here? Oops. Okay, 191, and then this VBox container here, I think the theme overrides, this needs to be 6. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So let's see what that looks like in game. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Looks decent enough. No regrets. I just like to take the time to make the art look nice, even when I'm like prototyping something. Like I'm not even entirely sure that the residue system is gonna stay, but I don't know. There's like something about like spending at least a little bit of time and getting some non-placeholder art in place. It just makes it feel more complete. I guess what it really is that the placeholder art or the placeholder UI, it does detract from the game, even if it's not affecting the gameplay in any way. It detracts from the game in a way that's hard to separate mentally from like what's actually happening with the game mechanics versus what's being displayed on screen. And so I just kind of like to spend at least a little bit of time getting the art into a place where it's pleasant to look at. It just makes it, I don't know, it makes it easier for me to get excited about a game mechanic, or makes it easier for me to see the whole picture, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe late lurk. All good. Have one dripping blood and one crusty with residue. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. You have 2 pixels at the top of the residue, so it doesn't look aligned to me. It is going to be a little bit tricky. I think to add that extra pixel. Without kind of like changing the shape of it. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I'm gonna probably play around with that later though. Maybe cut at the wider part and move the whole thing up. Yeah, I could do that. I just don't know. It's gonna, yeah, I'm gonna have to change some of the shading here, I suppose. Which may not be a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit more. I don't think it's as simple as doing that. I have to kind of like reshape it a little bit. That's okay though. Hello, not often I get a chance to stop by. I thought I'd say hello. Hello, elusive ghost. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you. Glad you could stop by. So there is some work that needs to be done with respect to the balancing of the currency and stuff, but I'm going to handle that this afternoon. I do have a meeting to get to here in just about 10 minutes though. So that's going to have to be it for the stream today. I'm glad I was able to get the stream in at roughly the usual time. But yeah, I will have to go to that meeting. So that'll be it for the stream today. But yeah, I think this is, like I said before, I think everything's moving in the right direction. This is just going to be a very iterative process. So yeah, over the next several weeks, I'm just going to be doing this, really tightening it up. Again, the core goal right now is to make alchemy, incentivize alchemy as much as possible for the player. So all of these efforts that I'm doing right now are basically geared toward that end. And I'm going to try to get into a place where it feels really good to me, at least personally, before I release another playtest. And so hopefully I want to shoot for a playtest by the end of this month for everyone. So I hope I can deliver that for you. And I hope that the game has changed enough that there's a bunch of new stuff for you to play with. And I think I'm going to add an extra incentive also for anyone that offers feedback on the playtest, but I'll share more about what I'm thinking when the playtest actually gets closer. So yeah, definitely appreciate all the chats, all the support, even for the lurkers out there. Thank you for watching this stream live or the VOD. I know there are VOD watchers out there. Please consider wishlisting Alchemortis if you haven't already, and you can also support me on Patreon. You can buy my Udemy courses. That's the way I'm making my money right now. And you can also join the Discord. All that stuff is linked in the description below. And I hope to see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern when we continue Alchemortis development. And I hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.